What's up, everybody? My name is Matthew Broomfield, and for everybody that's viewing right now, you're actually tuning into my first ever YouTube channel. If you couldn't tell by the name below, this channel is going to be strictly about sports. Truth be told, sports is going to be a place where you can get raw and uncut truth on sports. It's not going to be like none of that politicized BS that you see on ESPN or Fox in the morning. Now, wait a minute, before I get ahead of myself and before people kill me in the comment section, I'm not knocking none of the shows such as First Take and such as First Things First, because they're all great shows and they're also all great sports commentators. But there are things that they can't say just because the corporations will prevent them from saying. And there's also things that they also say for ratings, such as, oh, Andre Iguodala is a better clutch shooter than Steph Curry. Like, come on now, what are we really doing out here? Things like that you won't ever see at my channel. So in a few seconds, you're about to actually see my first ever episode that I'm about to post on my channel. I hope you guys really enjoy it, as I put a lot of time and effort into this. If you do enjoy it, please go down below and hit subscribe, and also hit that like button. It'll really help me out. With that being said, I will hope to see you there. Peace out. What's up, everybody? My name is Matthew Broomfield, and you are tuning in to the first ever episode of Truth Be Told Sports. Alright, this is for now on going to be the place where you can get raw, uncut truth on sports. None of that BS that you see on TV. Starting off with my first guest ever. This is one of my very closest brothers to me. This is my boy King. He's very passionate about sports, and that's what we're going to give you there today. So, what's up, man? Alright. So, with that being said, let's get this started. The first thing that we're really going to speak on is about the NBA of the potential of having a 16-game or a 16 seed playoff. So, speaking of which, King, how do you feel that's going to shift the league?
I guess it gives everybody a good chance to play. There's a lot of pros and cons to it. I'm trying to remember how the setup was. I remember they were in talks about it. I think it was like around maybe December.
Yeah, December, I believe, somewhere around that time.
Yeah, it can be like I guess it's everybody versus everybody in a sense, right?
Yeah, I think it was just going to be, forget the Eastern Conference and Western Conference. They were kind of hitting that in the past, and they were just going to have everybody just go ahead and, just earn a chance to win that ring.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like the con of it is that it's not that much drive for during the season, because in the season you're working so hard to reach a goal, and for some teams that goal is to get to the playoffs, and then from there, it's from playoffs to the championship. I think it's like, what are you really playing for? It's like, what's the point of the season?
Yeah, I guess I can see that too. I think one of the issues too that underlies in this little 16 seed playoff idea is that the fact that you kind of had a power balance between the conferences. I mean, obviously the Western Conference seemed to have way more competition on just across the platform. So I think that having a chance to enter the Eastern Conference into one big pool of playoffs, you might see a bunch of teams loaded up from the West instead of seeing a lot of teams from the East, and that diversity is kind of lost. So I can definitely see that being an issue with the teams, but then again, with the big space and gap we had in between the season, how are you really gonna get to the playoffs with the regular seed? But at the end of the day, like you were saying, what are we really playing for? Are we really gonna have a chance to, be one of those 16 teams to get in and have at least 4 games to play before you start, or are you just gonna start right away automatically? Because you got teams like the Pelicans and teams like that, or the Trailblazers, that were very close to that last seed, and they were 3 or 4 games behind, I believe, and they might not have a chance to get in. So do you think it's fair for those teams to? You think it's fair to those teams that they start the playoffs immediately, or do you believe they should at least have about a couple months or a month or two to play to see who can get in?
I think they should give a couple months to see who should get in. But I feel like that's the more traditional way too. I know a big part of this is being adjusting to change. since we've been watching the playoffs, at least for, I mean, as long as we've been alive, it's been the same setup.
Yeah.
I know there's been some tweaks to it back in like the 80s and 90s, but we're so used to just 8 seeds playing your spot, and if you don't make it, you don't make it. As a player, I would think, you know, if I don't make the playoffs, we just got to do better and don't get ourselves in this situation. So yeah, I would think the traditional, just, you know, play as hard as you can those following months, and if your record's good, then your record's good. For the pros of, you know, a 16 seed playoffs, I mean, everybody gets a chance. That can upset people. It could upset people. It could make people happy because there's always fluke games.
Too many fluke games at that point, and you know, it really gets into the point of just like you don't want to see somebody like, you know, just one of the lesser teams playing in the playoffs, and you know, they get in by a chance. So I could definitely see that happening. I think really what it's gonna come down to is just like this lesson or this situation is gonna teach a lot of teams that, you know, nothing is going to be guaranteed. You know, every season ain't going to be the same.
Yeah.
Even though this is a once in a kind opportunity or situation that has happened with the coronavirus, I believe, you know, teams are going to be super hungry next year.
Yeah. I think the one positive, of course, COVID-19's not good, and it's taking away sports. But the fact that everybody's going to come back healthy, for, I guess, all sports, you know, this break from sports, everybody's just, like, everybody on every team should be back. I mean, for the most part, depending on the time of the injuries. But, like, the big name stars, you know, Kevin Durant, Kyrie, John Wall, LeBron's going to be refreshed, Curry, Klay Thompson. Just everybody's going to be back 100%. So everybody gets to play at their best if they're working out right now. And it's just going to be like this. You know, whoever gets in. That 2021 season, or 2020 to 2021 season, whenever the season starts, is going to, hopefully, I think it's going to be a good one.
Oh yeah, it's for sure going to be a good one. It's going to really determine who really was, you know, who really is the best team in the NBA, because you got all these stars on teams now. Like, obviously, you know, the Brooklyn Nets has Kyrie Irving and you know, Kevin Durant. You know, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Anthony Davis, LeBron, whatever it not be, you know, those are really going to be the couple of challenges that you're going to see put in the fire, because everybody's coming back healthy, like you said. And so, like, I'm really ready for it, because at the end of the day, they were even speaking on that, you know, some teams may not have the opportunity to play because some of their facilities aren't opening up yet, depending on what state laws they have and stuff like that. And you know, we're not gonna really get too much into that.
Yeah, because that definitely does get a little tricky.
It does, but you know, it kind of negates. You know, I ain't gonna say it negates the ring, but it always gonna feel like it has an asterisk next to it, because people are always gonna be like, okay, well, you know, you really didn't have a season to have everybody prepared like they were. You know, so next season is gonna be really see where the dogs is at. So, you know, but. Moving on to the next point that kind of ties into this, a specific NBA player, you know, obviously plays for the Trailblazers, one of the best competitors in this league. Damian Lillard basically made a statement saying that he didn't want to play in games that basically didn't count. You know, the games weren't going to count to them winning the championship or at least having the opportunity to get into the playoffs. He didn't want the opportunity to play. So, what's your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I agree. With this season specifically, I think there's no point of trying to play any games, especially since there's not going to be any fans. It's not going to be normal games, and it's like, what are they playing for? So I understand that. I think they should continue this break until COVID clears up. I know players want to play, but I'm looking at it as at the logistics of it, and like it just really doesn't make sense to play. Like, they already missed so much of the season. I don't think it would be fair to teams who were already, like, say if they start playing right now, and like they jump into the playoffs. What about those games that could have been make or break for some teams in the playoffs? And I guess that ties into what we said before about the 16 seed will solve that problem. But you know, if he's on the traditional route, then then just cancel this season. You know, there's a pandemic going on, so it would make sense. Just start back up when you can. Yeah, so I agree with them. Yeah. I agree with them.
I think you really just got to make it come down to what's really on the line at this point, you know.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like you said, we have a whole pandemic going on.
Yeah.
Is our safety going to be in our hands? And you know, I'd rather risk my safety to play for a ring rather than risk my safety just to play for nothing, essentially.
Yeah.
And I get that, you know, fans may want to see that, but at the end of the day, we always got to think in the best interest of everybody in particular, you know. One, injuries towards the players. You know, if I just so happen to go out and play one of these unnecessary games, quote unquote, and if I tear or hurt something, now I'm hindering my team's success for next season. And I think, you know, Damian Lillard has that combination of things, and a lot of times for these athletes, you know, they get in a lot of family time in. So, you know, I could definitely agree with him on that one and his point of saying that, you know, this is just all unnecessary. I'm trying to think what I was going to say next, but it's just pointless at this point. It is, and people won't understand that sometimes, but you know, the bigger picture, the bigger picture of things, I guess, depends how you view. It depends how you view things, because with some people, NBA again. On the NBA side, or like the business side, you know, we're trying to find any way possible to not, you know, lose more money and lose our business. But I guess if you got hope for, you know, trusting the process, then eventually there's going to be an NBA season in the future. Things will get back to normal. You just got to hold on. So just a patience thing. I think if everybody just stays patient and just thinks about the positives of everybody coming back, then that'll also make that next season, whenever the season is, it'll make it more special. Just to wait for it. There's everything getting back to normal. I feel like the games will be more energetic throughout the whole season. Just that passion for sports, the passion to win again. I feel like everybody will be on the same page. You know what I'm saying? Again, like we said earlier, kind of getting repetitive at this point, but you know, everybody will be healthy. Just be a good time. Just be ready to go. You know what I'm saying? And I can't think of a time. I can't think of a season I'll be more excited for. You know what I'm saying? This season was going to be pretty good. This past season, with all the trades that happened, and everybody was somewhat kind of equal. I know the Lakers were tearing it up, but you know, I can't just say it was LeBron and Anthony Davis. I still felt like everybody kind of had a chance to do something. So, and with that, and there's still like big injuries like Steph Curry and Klay Thompson with the Warriors. Now that they're going to be back healthy, and KD and Kyrie, you know, that makes the season even more better. I think for the first time in a while, not in a while, but for the first time in a second, that East was pretty stacked, and that is more entertaining to watch with the Bucks, Nets, Raptors were actually doing good. That was surprising. And the Heat actually, the Heat with Tyler Hero and them boys, they actually came up into the fourth spot for a little minute. In the fourth seed. So, and then Philly, and then of course the West is always the West. So but I think when the season starts, whenever it is, it's going to be real special. If the players just don't risk anything right now. Yeah, for sure. But that's just going to be something we're going to have to look out for, you know, down the line, just to see where they're going to be at. But so this is probably a conversation that people was having all second half of the season since he came back, but the Rookie of the Year discussion. So obviously the two forefront runners that came out were Ja Morant and Zion Williamson. I mean, there was no question about it. So speaking on that, you know, who is your pick on Rookie of the Year, hypothetically, because you know the season's ended now, technically. So who do you think was going to win? I got Ja Morant. Of course, it was for me. I mean, it was a sleeper. I wasn't really hip to him until he started playing, and he was just doing his thing. I think Dunn was close on him on a lot of stats, though. So
a lot of credit is done because I know how the media is. They're not really going to talk about him.
Yeah, they're not.
They'll talk about him, but they're not going to present him how, of course, they're presenting Ja Morant and Zion. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Morant. He was playing his role and he was doing his thing.
I feel like when Morant got to Memphis, Memphis was one of the, people got to remember that too. Like Memphis was one of those teams that were like sitting. They weren't always at the bottom of the conference, but they were one of those teams that they were always going to be somewhere around the 12th seed. They weren't really going to be like. I mean, they used to be hitting that 8th seed, 7th seed.
But I was going to say I know exactly what you're talking about because at one point in 2013 or 2014, I swear there was OKC's kryptonite. OKC could not beat Memphis for nothing.
Mike Conley,
Mike Conley, Gasol.
I think Jay Crowder might have been there a couple years just as a role player.
Maybe that center. He had the nickname.
Was that Randolph?
Yeah. That team. I don't know what it was about it, but like. I remember, I think it was 2014 because OKC lost, and I think that was like just OKC's year. But they beat them. I think they beat them in like 5 or 6, and they had to play the Spurs in the Western Conference Finals, and the Spurs dragged them. But it was like, Memphis, they had a good coaching staff, and they had a solid team, and they just fell off a little bit, and they got a good draft pick. If they can get back to normal, then Ja Morant can really do something special.
Exactly. He just and the other rookies, Jones, there as well. I think this might have been his second year or so, but like just that nucleus he's creating around his buzz, like around his playing style, is just because people obviously seen in college that he was so athletic, but people really didn't see the point guard that he is. Like, North and South. Easily by far, Ja Morant is one of the most skilled players that you've probably ever seen. But like, just him and his court vision and just the way he plays is just something exciting to see. And like a lot of times, it's not flashy on paper because he's not scoring 20 points a game every game. That's just it wasn't of his nature this year. But when he first got that triple double in January, it was something exciting to see. So like. Just the way they can easily be in the top 4. I see in the upcoming years for sure. Yeah, but
upcoming years, I would say, because they got a lot. They got a lot to go through.
Yeah. So like, but with that being said, because Morant was my pick as well, just because of the way he's important to Memphis. If you take Morant out, you probably won't see Memphis competing that well. Yeah. No disrespect to the other players, but I mean that's just the truth. But on the backhand side, what Zion did in this, not even 2 months, 3 months, like dude, like I don't even think he averaged under 21 at all since January 31st, since he came back, and just the way you see him grow as a player, because that's another player they thought, he was just athletic, he was big, and I know for me, one of the things I was telling my boys and stuff like all the time, it was like, how is he going to play at the height of 6'6", but he weighs as much as like a power forward center? Where are you going to put him? Yeah. And, he came out January, obviously he got hurt, which, I wouldn't say too much due to his jumping or athletic ability, but it may have a factor on it. But when he came back out, I think the guy hit like 4 threes and like...
Yeah, I think he had like a...
half or...
Yeah, he had like a starting game like... I want to say 26 points. Yeah. Around that.
Somewhere around that. I think 26 or 28. And he was just... He wasn't doing much of the running and dunking and the jumping like he usually do. And it was just like, you could see how his play has developed. And now he's really one of those players that, he's starting to become where he can have the ball in his hands and you're not afraid to let him have the ball in his hands. He doesn't do anything too flashy. He's going to make a one move and go. And it was just like... It was just amazing to see how he came back from that injury so well. Like, you just don't see many players do that. So, for him, but that's another reason too. If you took him out of New Orleans, like I said, no offense to anybody else, but I just feel like New Orleans was the same team that with him.
Yeah.
They just became more versatile in scoring options.
Yes.
Brandon Ingram was finally starting to get into his skin a little bit. Being the dominant scorer he could be.
Yeah, and Ball.
Yeah, Ball is actually playing in his skin. Being that facilitator, being that floor general. He's not going to try to get you 21 each night, but he's going to get the ball to the right people, and that's his playing style.
The Pelicans weren't that bad of a team.
Oh, for sure they weren't.
They just had they're just on the unfortunate side of things when it came to losing. I kind of put them back down, but I always thought their team was solid. And then, of course, Anthony Davis, he was just tired of being there, and the team kind of fell off. And then the trade happened, so they got Zion. But with that switch from Zion from Davis to Zion, I guess Zion's kind of like the new, future scorer for them. But I feel like if they play as a team, they can, get back up to at least to like a 7 seed.
Yeah.
6 max, I would say.
Because I think they were just sitting right behind the Trailblazers.
Yeah.
The 10 seed or the 11 seed. And so it was also one of those teams that needed only 4 games behind to get in that spot.
Yeah.
Now their experience wouldn't have let them get there yet because they still have to build their chemistry as a team. But the Pelicans are really fortunate to get a player like Zion after losing just a star-studded player, Anthony Davis, and even the DeMarcus Cousins too beforehand, because they really had something special. But So with that being said, I mean, to me, even though I do pick Morant to be the Rookie of the Year, and that's just my personal belief, because he was just a more important role to his team. In the upcoming years, I do see Zion Williamson being the face of the league. Obviously, you got Kawhi, LeBron. Those guys, even though they're still in the league, dominating, they're probably the best players right now. I just feel like you're really looking at this new talent, like with Tatum, and you just Jaylen Brown, just seeing all these guys. Tyler Hero, who is a sleeper for a lot of people in Miami, but he's getting the job done. But I just see Zion, really going to be able to develop more, especially playing around a guy like Lonzo Ball and just playing under JJ Redick and stuff like that, just playing with those vets, he's going to develop more and possibly become the face of this league, most likely.
I think if he takes I know he's probably taking his health seriously, but I think if he, gets in that, great NBA shape, that he dedicates himself to working on the mechanics of playing, because again, it's the small things, because at the beginning of the season, or at least when he was at Duke, there was he is kind of too big in the way he lands. He's going to injure himself. I think if he takes that to account, works on his weight and athletic ability still, he can definitely get to LeBron's way of playing. Because the big thing with LeBron, he keeps himself healthy, and keeps himself working out and things like that.
Exactly.
And because LeBron, I remember when LeBron cut down his weight. I'm not sure if you remember that.
Yeah, after the Miami years, I think his first championship first finals run in Cleveland. Yeah. He ended up dropping a couple 10, 15
something
pounds.
like that, but it made a big difference.
Yeah.
I remember, I think Melo also maybe cut down his weight.
Yep.
That, I feel like I think that's something that is kind of underrated, but it just keeps you healthy, because people are really paying attention to the way he be landing. I can't really speak on it because I'm not too hip to it. But again, it makes sense. He is pretty big, but with him being in the NBA and him having, I guess, the professional resources now, I think, and if he keeps the mindset and stays dedicated to it, I think he'll be able to again shift his not his whole play style, but the way he plays, the way he thinks of things like that. To be smarter on the court and off the court, and that'll benefit him in the future.
Yeah, because it definitely reminds me of, I don't want to say this to jinx anybody, but damn,
I'm not going to win. I was thinking of
I was thinking of Derrick Rose because even though he wasn't as big, just the athleticism ability he was showing and doing all these dunks, you know, it took something as simple as him going trying to do a hop step through a lane in Atlanta playoff series back in the day, and he tore his ACL. It took him a while just to rejuvenate from that. And you know, he wasn't really a 3-point shooter at the time. I mean, he could do it, but he just wasn't. You know, that wasn't his first option.
His thing, kind of before I got to the 3-point era, was driving to the paint. That was. I was gonna say Greg Oden. I remember. Because he was supposed to be like a dominant center for years, for years to come. But injuries just got him. So
played his career.
Both of them, and they were both knee injuries, and so with Derrick Rose being lighter, you know, that's something already to just go ahead and keep track of, since he's heavier. I feel like he would be more at risk for knee injuries like that. The way he'd be exploding, and everything. So
exactly. So, but you know, he gonna do his thing for sure. He's definitely gonna be one of those perennial stars in the future, and it can only go up from here.
I was gonna say we do have something to look forward to with Tatum, Ball, Morant, Williams, Jaylen Brown, Antetokounmpo, because he's still really young.
He's really still young.
So, because really, if you think about it, I don't know how LeBron's doing it, but I mean, LeBron. I can't say he's on his final seasons, but he is getting up there in age. I think Melo's birthday was yesterday. It's either today or it was yesterday, and he said happy birthday. He's 36. I'm like, dang, 36. That's like kind of around when Kobe was about to retire.
And this weekend had all these problems.
So we are getting to that next shift of players.
Exactly.
It's interesting.
So now it's time to talk about probably the biggest topic that happened in the past 2 weeks. You know, everybody's eyes had to be glued to it in the United States alone, but the Last Dance documentary. So, you know, I know you watched it. I know you had to watch all 10 parts. So what was your take on the documentary?
So again, it gave me more respect for Jordan as a player. Most of the stuff that I thought I knew, I didn't. You know, it's just based off of stories that kind of what I remember from ESPN, from like Googling, doing research, things like that. It just gave me a new take on him. Because again, I always thought he was the best player to do it, but it shows kind of like what he really did to get those 6 rings, and like how big it really meant. Like the smallest, like him and the smallest things to him, what it really meant to him. The backstory with him and his father, the backstory with him and his players, the dream team, all that, the shoes, kind of just really opened the door. Kind of told the truth about him, or at least what ESPN and him saying as the truth. You know what I'm saying? I really enjoyed it. 9 o'clock Sundays, 9 p.m. I was there, right there in the living room watching it. Watched it 2 hours, and talking about my roommates. And it was definitely worth it. It's crazy that they had it originally planned to come out in July, I think.
Exactly.
Smart move, ESPN bringing it back to May. Something to watch too, because
it gave us something to really keep our eyes on, especially during this quarantine. And it was just crazy to like see how his will to win really just took over control. And people are going to see that as him being an asshole. People are just going to it's a different light you can see it in. But I think if you look at it from the positive aspect, man, like you just got to see like this guy really just wanted to purely win, and he just wanted to make his teammates better in a sense, and I mean, you probably knew, like, doing some stuff with your friends, you joke around. And it wasn't malicious, but, at the end of the day, for him being a top tier athlete and just the best in the game at the time, it really just brought in a different light of just this is what it really takes for him to win, to do 2-3 piece. This is what it takes for him to average 36 in a year, and just really win, So I can definitely see that. And you can mention how people compare him and LeBron to today. At the end of the day, I'm always a LeBron fan, always gonna be a LeBron fan. I'm from Ohio originally, so that's just gonna be always in me. But I think this documentary might have made a lot of people just say switch over on the game and just be like, man, forget that, man. LeBron ain't even the GOAT no more. It's Jordan. What did that do to your opinion?
So I'm not a LeBron fan. I'm not a LeBron fan, but I'm not a LeBron hater anymore, I should say. I respect LeBron, and it's easy for us to talk about LeBron because, again, when we're in the LeBron era, we are currently watching LeBron. It's really hard, again, but I still have, it's, again, really hard to say, but from what I see LeBron doing right now, I still have LeBron as the greatest player of all time.
Oh, for sure.
But, a big but, Michael Jordan, it's not like a cakewalk because, again, Michael Jordan is 6 for 6. Michael Jordan is 6 for 6 in the finals, and from that documentary, we now know why he's 6 for 6 in the finals. LeBron, unfortunately, is not perfect in the finals, and some is for minor inconveniences maybe J.R. Smith in that one year that kind of just blew it off.
That might have just blew the series for them boys.
And then injuries to other players, but LeBron was going to show up in the playoffs no matter what. I think with Jordan, being on his teammates 25-8 throughout the whole season, I think that makes a difference of why they didn't lose. You know what I'm saying? Player wise, again, one-on-one, Michael Jordan versus LeBron. That's where I have LeBron getting over Jordan. Because he's just a freak of an athlete. You can't deny that.
Oh yeah.
But at the end of the day, we guess we really won't know because they haven't played each other. But I mean, again, from my eyes, if Jordan and LeBron were playing one-on-one, I got LeBron. Yeah. I think that's what it is.
That's just it. And it's just so funny when you have these conversations with other people. And I have all the respect from Jordan in the world, especially after seeing this documentary. You cannot negate the fact that that man is great, and he's definitely a close second to LeBron in my opinion. And, if somebody were to put a number one, I wouldn't have no problem. I don't want to tear down the other person just to get the other person shine, but it's just to see a guy 6'9", 250, 260, and just to be able to do the things that he can do on the court just as good, that really takes the winner for me. But, as we speak about Jordan, I think I was watching one of the old games of the Eastern Conference Finals on during the year 1990 on YouTube because, they was putting all the old games on because of the quarantine, and it was just so effortless. He had 47 and 15 by the end of the game, and it's just you didn't notice that he was scoring that much, and so he just made it look easy, it was just a part of his natural body. Yeah, it was just innate to him. So that's definitely what kind of puts him there, and this documentary definitely intensified that conversation, and definitely don't forget about Jordan. You will never forget about a player like that. Yeah, but. Out of the documentary, though, in the post-documentary, some drama came out. So, former Bulls player Horace Grant, he won the first 3 rings with Jordan from 91 to 93, allegedly called Michael Jordan a snitch because Michael Jordan allegedly accused Grant of leaking information to the media, which led Grant to bounce back on the radio show, and called MJ a snitch after the explanation of the coke locker room that Jordan told at the beginning of the documentary. So, how do you take that situation? Because that's something that's rare. You see players like Scottie Pippen and you see players like Dennis Rodman and Steve Kerr that get on TV of the documentary and they have the utmost respect for Michael Jordan. Even other players around the league like Magic Johnson and so that played during his time. Somebody as close as Horace Grant, helped them a big pivotal part in the first three-peat. How do you kind of see this situation? Like, who, not necessarily who's wrong or who's right, but where does this all come from? Where does the blame lie?
I think it's funny because maybe it's just because he's an old head. I don't think it's that big of a deal because I think Jordan was just talking.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Telling how it is how it is. I mean, I guess of course nobody wants. Like what was it talking about? Like the beginning days where he's like, the players are wild out partying and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Michael Jordan's Michael Jordan. That's one. So, yeah, that's all right. I mean, Michael Jordan's Michael Jordan. He's just telling how it is and how it was. I don't recall him saying names. So he kind of snitched himself out by retaliating.
Yeah.
If I was Morris Grant, I just wouldn't have said anything. Would have just carried on. And plus, they was teammates and they won together, so there shouldn't really be any beef.
Exactly. It's similar to like the Kobe and Shaq situation where they try to start drama there.
Yeah.
And I think it's just the media getting in the way of Horace Grant and Michael Jordan. Like at the end of the day, post documentary wherever or not, you can always look back and see that y'all won 3 rings together. And it's a lot of people that just dream about that. People that haven't even won that one. So it's just like, something as silly as this. It kind of just. It really doesn't go nowhere at this point. The careers are done. The documentary's out.
Careers are done. Career's done. Documentary's out. Again, Michael Jordan's cooling.
Yeah.
It's not affecting nobody. So again, just petty drama.
Yeah, just simple petty drama. It shouldn't even.
Now, I would say I don't understand. We might understand the relationship because some people do still hold a grudge towards Michael Jordan, and Michael Jordan holds a grudge towards other people.
Oh, for sure.
So maybe it's serious to the world to him, but it's me as somebody watching this. I mean, it's not really that big of a deal, I would think. If somebody told, and especially if somebody told my business so far in the future, I'd be like, well, it's kind of already done, so.
You can't do nothing about it. You really can't go back in time, just to.
It's not like you're gonna get. I was gonna say you're not gonna get fined anymore, so.
Exactly. So it's in the past.
Yeah.
And, like you said, other players always gonna have drama every day.
Yeah.
Isaiah getting snubbed from the Dream Team.
Yeah. I would be more mad about that than anything.
But that's a different conversation. That was kind of a messed up situation. But just at the end of the day, do you think his attitude, was justified? I know this might seem like a simplistic question because people are going to be like, well, the man won 6 rings in the span of 10 years, but. Do you think his attitude could have been a little bit different, or was it justified?
It could have. It could have been different, but do you think they would have won 6 rings? Because if it's like, I got the sense from watching it, it was like they were playing for their lives. You know what I'm saying? Exaggerating that, because it's just basketball. But people, if your teammates are fearing. It's like for me it's thinking of not saying I'm not trying to play anybody on that Bulls team, but if you're scared of a player, then it's I'm thinking of how I was scared of my dad if I bring home bad grades. They're like, man, we can't lose because how losing affects this man. You know what I'm saying? So they went all out to not lose, and Jordan put his foot down so they wouldn't lose. And comparing that to LeBron, if you you think J.R. Smith would be friends with? You think J.R. Smith would be friends with Jordan if he did that shot, or the not take the shot?
Yeah,
George Hill would be gone.
Yeah,
J.R. Smith will be gone, and Jordan would not talk to him to this day. I feel I'm not sure J.R. Smith's and LeBron's relationship now. I know he's not playing anymore, but. Yeah. like they had like Jordan literally put fear in them so they could win, and he trash talked them so they could win. He did all of this just to win. And again, I respect it because you know, when I ran track, we won state back to back. And those seasons were like the hardest seasons of my life. I'm like, this coach is crazy. You know, we have days where just like, you know, we don't want to do this no more. You know, scared of doing workouts, this, that, and the third. But at the end of the day, we did win 2 rings, and we worked for them. We worked our tail off for them, and that's the same energy with Mike. He's not soft. You know, LeBron's a more friendly guy, I think. You know, until push comes to shove where he has to, you know, get in playoff mode. But at the end of the day, LeBron's a friendly dude for the most part. Mike wasn't friendly. He had fun and he had good times when they won. Oh yeah, for sure. He celebrated after the win. Season, you know, game time. You gotta do what you gotta do. And I'm more like I would say like I like more. If I'm watching something on TV, I like the more serious stuff, especially with like superheroes. Like I like Batman so much because he will do like literally everything he has to do so he can save the world. And like I guess small scale Daredevil, like he was so intense in doing the most that he can do, you know, just so he can keep the day safe. And I think about that with basketball. Like Jordan, he's just like, you know, I'm going to play this hard. I'm going to be mean, and I'm going to go hard on you. And if you don't like it, go to a different team. I'm like, yeah.
Oh, for sure. Because, I mean, you know, it's a sacrifice that just has to be made in some people's eyes. That, you know, if I really want to win, and everybody see that at the end of episode 7.
Yes.
His passion, where, like you mentioned earlier, when he was talking privately, you know, he cried. You know, look. I seen Jordan, he came to my high school before. Yeah. You see that man on TV, and obviously they got the memes, but to see a grown man cry like that, man, I mean, at the end of the day, it was, you know, surprising and a little bit funny, but at the end of the day, it's like, it really opened up your eyes, because, like, that man really sacrificed basically his whole life just to win. Yeah. And, like, you know, just for a career to go like his, it's just, and to have somebody like Scottie Pippen to even be hard on them at times, because that's a superstar, and you know, to have a legendary coach that you got to work with, you know, you still got to hold each other accountable, and so his passion was definitely there. That's one thing you probably couldn't question with Jordan, like, yo, that dude's passion is like, it's in his veins, man. The game of basketball is in his veins, so, you know. So, but with that being said, right now, it's on hold. You know, they haven't really said much about it. You know, they're thinking about pushing it back, I believe, to like July, August, which, I mean, it's kind of weird, but, you know, we don't know what's until the end of the NBA season.
Oh, yeah.
So, for the NBA draft, you know, who do you kind of see? I'm just going to throw some names out there. So, LaMelo Ball is obviously the number one name that you're hearing across the news board right now as being the top 5 pick in the draft. You know, who do you think would be a best fit, or what team, would be a best fit for him, and just how do you think his overall play will handle in the NBA?
Well, I actually forgot about the NBA draft with the quarantine. Since there wasn't that season, the second half of the season. Exactly. It's kind of hard to tell. Really, I guess LaMelo is the only one I can really think of. But it's like, are you ready? I don't know. I think he's still young and still needs to develop. I don't know. It's hard. I can't see him. I can't see him on. I mean, I can see him on a team doing things, but like, I don't know if he just wants to take that jump into it so soon. Yeah. Actually, I'm not even. I'm not. It's crazy to keep up how old he is, because he's been in high school, then he played pros, and I think Lithuania.
Lithuania then went back
to high school. So I don't even think he's got to college yet. Yeah. So
now playing pro now. Yeah. In Australia, which is just.
That's right. Yeah. So I think the Knicks was thinking about taking him. I don't know. I guess it's really up to him. The opportunity he wants to make. I think he's gonna get. Like he's not gonna win. Off rip.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's what people kind of forget. I think well, I would never know because I'm not a college athlete. But if I were a college athlete, I feel like I would stay in college 4 years to get myself as good as I can in college. Mm-hmm. That way, say I'm a prospective number one pick. By the time I get to the pros, I'll be ready to put work in and make a big impact. Because those players who come straight from their freshman year, unless they're really like that, mm-hmm. They have to go with probably 3 to 4, 5 years of losing, So I would enjoy the time winning wherever I'm at, like in college, build my way up there, and then by the time I'm all developed, got all the resources I can, then go to the pros. But everybody's mindset is different now. LaMelo, his character, he's kind of just like one of us outside the camera, you know what I'm saying?
And you can see from the show that they have, he's just like us. And I think that is the issue that people have is just seeing him on TV and seeing his personality, and now just seeing him in Australia, and now that it kind of came so soon that he's going to be a top 5 pick in the NBA draft coming up at least, or a top 10, just one of the top picks overall. Like, how is this really going to translate? And I know some people have been saying okay, teams like the Cavaliers will fit, which you kind of had to question that because they already got Colin Sexton. Yeah, and he's kind of trying to develop that team and gain a role in there. They've been having their frustrations, but it's just so hard to really put them where. And this is just a different game at the end of the day because, you just got to really just see how he's going to translate that game. Yeah. It's just crazy to see. I believe his play is amazing, though. Just as the point guard that he can be. I never seen somebody just that age. I'll say 19, 18, 19. Somebody that age just to be able to handle the ball that well. It's kind of like he can do it all. I mean, he kind of struggles on defense, but he can grab rebounds. He can shoot the three amazingly. He just has the load of confidence to shoot the ball.
That growth spurt did help. So I guess whoever needs a specific 3-point shooter, he's in there.
Exactly. So you can use him for a lot of things. To pass the ball, his court vision is on point. He can make the flashy passes. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of just ready to see how he would do against other NBA competition. Yeah. And just to bring up other players Obi Toppin from Dayton. Yeah. He's just an athletic stud that can just come in the hole and just get you boards and just be just a slasher at the rim and just athletic finisher and stuff like that. And just Anthony Edwards from Georgia. Just those are the guys you're gonna have to compete with. Cole Anthony is definitely one of the point guards at North Carolina. You really didn't get to see him play too often because he hurt himself in mid-season and also was coronavirus. But there's definitely some talent there. And it would have been nice to see them play in high school if they didn't stop that. If Oak Hill didn't stop that, that would have really determined where he was at amongst his class. But it's just hard to see him along with RJ Hampton, that's also in Australia, just to see where they at in the league. And so it's really just a waiting game, to see what's going to happen here. So, but let's go ahead and take this transition, jump right into the NFL. And since we're speaking of drafts, we're going to kind of do a recap of the draft. So, who do you believe? I'm going to start off with mine first, my winners versus losers. My winners of the draft, and I have this so strong-heartedly, is that I'm picking the Dallas Cowboys. And just because of Trayvon Diggs, the loss of Byron Jones, Trayvon Diggs from Alabama, he just has that speed at corner that, it really didn't miss a beat, hopefully. And just putting him in that slot with that speed, he can have that range of versatility. But also, obviously, the number one, their first-round pick is probably the biggest name of the draft, CeeDee Lamb. With Amari Cooper, and I'm gonna say this right now, I always felt a lot of people give Amari Cooper hype, but I never had felt like he was always one of those perennial superstars of the league at wide receiver. It just I don't feel like you can really count on him too much because this is the way he plays receiver, and you don't know if he's going to be consistent enough.
Yeah.
You're going to need somebody to give you. I'm not saying 100 yards a game, but you need to at least get 70 yards a game. And I think CeeDee Lamb and his yards after catch is just amazing. What he did in Oklahoma, catching that ball at the size he is, undersized, and just running the ball after he catches that thing, like he has the speed to definitely make it all the way. So, I mean, who do you feel like was your winners of the draft, and just what player are you really out on the look for?
I guess I'm your basic guy. NFL, I was telling you, is my strong suit. I'm a Redskins fan, so I'm looking forward to our draft pick, Chase Young.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Apparently, he's going to make our defense a whole lot better. I feel like we need everything all around, but my dad, he's a diehard Redskins fan, so he said our lines are now good, and our defense is kind of, transitioning to get better. But after following Joe Burrow's season, I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does, because I'm really interested. It's hard to pay attention all to the NFL. So many players, so many names. So I always focus on the great quarterbacks. I'm always big on that. And the fact that for our generation now, because again, this new generation is ending, Rodgers is getting old, Breeze is getting old, and I'm saying this right now, even though I'm a Redskins fan, I just want Breeze to get one more.
Yeah.
Because I hate what happens to him. But Breeze, I need you to get one more. But Rodgers, Breeze, Brady,
Brady definitely.
For us to have Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and now Joe Burrow, that I really want him to, I'm genuinely hoping he would do good, because that season with LSU was that season was ridiculous. I forgot who was talking about ESPN, but that was the greatest college football season ever. It's so crazy. And watching him play, he was throwing dimes. He was accurate.
He was.
Yeah, he was so accurate, man. It was the cleanest plays, cleanest passes, and again, they won the national championship. So I hope he doesn't die off, because I know some draft picks, they kind of just fall short. Lamar Jackson, he's doing his thing, but Jameis Winston, I'm thinking he's going to be amazing. Me being an FSU fan, and then him getting to pro, I'm thinking he's about to do his thing, which technically I guess he is doing his thing, but those interceptions kind of
just set him back.
Yeah,
it did set him back, and just like you were saying, Joe Burrow LSU definitely had one of the best college seasons, like you mentioned, by far. It wasn't even close. I think one of the closest games they ever had was just the Alabama game. And they knocked them off, and every other game like that, they just blew them out, even in the national championship. But the way you see Joe Burrow play, you obviously know he's not afraid to take a chance, but just to fit the ball into places, his precision, into the places to where his receivers can only get it, it's just it's crazy. Because I was just rewatching the Alabama game, and he was just fitting in some balls that were just it's crazy, crosser routes coming across the middle, and a linebacker sitting right in front of his face, but he's just making sure it's right over his hands, and it's just crazy. And I mean, I know the NFL is different. You definitely have to look out for it. That his challenging throws are going to be a little bit tougher in the NFL, because you got just a lot of better athletes. But
and he's going, and new coach, new people, new players.
Exactly.
Readjusting. So I just hope that it goes by well for him, because I know it's not going to be a quick process. It might be quick, it might not, because again, Lamar Jackson's second season he was going off. Amazing,
dude. He running back, quarterback, receiver, everybody. But anyway,
I hope he has a similar transition, Joe Burrow, so that way he can go ahead and do his thing. Again, I still want the Redskins to do really good, but reality's reality. Unless they start off the ball hot, then. But I'm looking forward for Joe Burrow to do his thing.
And those are definitely players to watch for me. Chase Young by far. Having just an amazing career at Ohio State. Jeff Okuda, who came right after him coming out of Ohio State at cornerback. That's just, the type of person, you want to just watch out for. But I am going to bring up my losers. Sorry, everybody from Philadelphia, but I this is the only specific reason I got to deem your team, the Philadelphia Eagles, as a loser, because you have a quarterback in Carson Wentz, and I know he's been hurt and struggled a lot, but for you to draft your first draft pick in Jalen Hurts, and don't get me wrong, everybody that's watching out there right now, do not get me wrong, don't quote me on this.
I forgot that happened.
Yeah, I have no problem with Jalen Hurts as a player. I definitely felt like, to me, he should have went sooner, and he should have been a better fit for some teams. But for the Eagles to pick him, I just believe you either showing me one or two things. That's a wasted talent you're picking up because he's just going to be sitting the bench if you have faith in Carson Wentz, or like you're just telling Carson Wentz to his face, like, we don't have any interest in you no more as our quarterback. And so to me, that's why you're losers.
Yeah, somebody's going to get this right, and that's it.
Exactly. And
that happened with Carson Wentz and whoever was before Carson Wentz or after.
Yeah, I think when Nick Foles was kind of coming in, replacing, and then they draft Carson Wentz, and then Nick Foles sends the bitch again.
Yeah, and then
they come win the Super Bowl. It's just like
yeah. So they kind of just repeated history kind of quick.
Exactly, and it's like Jalen Hurts is definitely a quarterback for a certain team, but it's just going to lead into free agency in the next 2 years, and it's going to cost you either more money or you're just going to lose a special talent. Mm-hmm. And there's problems with Carson Wentz, but I just think that
I was going to say they invested so much into him for them to just go ahead and get a new quarterback so early.
And just to talk about Jalen Hurts being drafted behind Carson Wentz, I believe that the Philadelphia Eagles, with their receiver core that they had last year, their tight end was in the top 50 of receivers, which was just ridiculous. Like, your tight end is your leading receiver, and he's just barely making it into the top 50 in the league. And why not invest into a receiver? Yeah. Why not invest into some of the good receivers that was out in the draft? And you've always got to question and wonder why the Eagles didn't do that. But so for the free agency of the NFL, some important players still haven't been signed. I kind of talked about this on my Instagram the other day, but you have Cam Newton that's still out there.
Yeah.
Winston just luckily got picked up by the Saints, which could be a situation of blessing in disguise.
Yes.
Davion Clowney allegedly reportedly turned down a big deal by the Browns, or is hesitant to take it. Mm-hmm. And then you still got Devontae Freeman, and then the cornerbacks from the Titans, Logan Ryan, and then Ed Reed still out there on the chopping block. But I guess all the news is just really around Newton and Clowney, as those are really the two biggest players. So
I think with Newton, unfortunately, he's getting the Melo situation, and I would like to apologize for Melo because. Yeah, I guess we'll explain that for another episode or something. But yeah, it's like they now think the media is now labeled him as washed and a problem to teams that nobody wants to pick him up, and it's just going to keep repeating itself until somebody does pick him up. It's really tough because he can play. Mm-hmm. He's been to a Super Bowl. He had a crazy season when he went to the Super Bowl. Kind of just fell short, and kind of his injuries just held him back. But he's a solid player. There's teams that need a quarterback.
Very much, just a lot of teams that need a quarterback.
So I don't know why he's not being picked up. But again, that's what
That's the price they're gonna pay, and I feel like. Obviously, his injuries is the biggest factor on why they haven't picked up a guy like Cam Newton. But you cannot possibly tell me there's 14 quarterbacks in the league right now that's better than Cam Newton. I can probably name you 7, and they're all got big major deals with their teams, or they're got 2-year deals that was worth a lot of money, like Drew Brees. And
Yeah, it's kind of like the main core of quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, Brady, Breeze, Rodgers. I'm not even gonna give Roethlisberger. I got Cam over Roethlisberger.
I mean, as of right now, because I mean,
as of right now,
Roethlisberger is just he hasn't really been. He's been hurt. You know, and his question of playing the game in the passion for the game has been a question for a while now. But I believe, and I want to say this wholeheartedly because I believe teams like the Jaguars, which even though they got Gardner Minshew, I don't believe that they still need that veteran presence, and Cam Newton can still get the job done. In my heart, if he gets healthy, he can still get the job done. And I mean, it's just crazy that teams do not want to sign him. Yeah,
because he's a game changer also. Yeah. And, you know, the more they keep waiting, that's what makes the problem. Because like with, at least on the NBA side with Melo, you know, Melo was getting old as well. He of course he might be a little bit rusty because he hasn't been playing. Got Melo warmed up and he's playing his role. And that's going to be the same for Cam on the football side of things. You know, he's not going to play. And then, you know, of course he's going to, you know, start off bad. But if you keep on team, keep him warmed up, keep him doing things, then he's going to be solid.
Exactly. So we just got to wait to see. You know, teams did make some moves. You know, Dak Prescott, he still has his contract ordeal going through. You know, they did sign Andy Dalton as a backup, which to me, I mean, I guess as a backup quarterback, Andy Dalton would be the best fit. Not a starting one, not right now at least. The New England Patriots, you know, they got their belief in the guy that was backing up Tom, but I mean, just the physical. And all right, so I guess let's go ahead and take a step back from seeing Cam in the spotlight of just the NFL quarterback statistics and numbers. Let's just see Cam as just a physical athlete. A guy that's that big, 250 pounds, playing quarterback and that can throw the ball, you know, you may have to tweak a little bit his mechanics, as people have been saying for years, but I mean, he knows the game, and it's just like to have somebody at 250 that knows the game, that's kind of tough to have. Yeah. You know, so, I mean, you can kind of create the same system that Tom had around Cam Newton. It could be beneficial towards him because of the injury reasons. You know, when Tom Brady was playing in that system, you know, he was just taking what the defense give him in the 5-yard undercuts and just plays like that. He wasn't really going for the long ball unless it was there. And for somebody as Cam Newton, who used to just get hurt a lot, you know, sacked a lot, you know, he had that car crash with his back injury years ago. And, you know, if you're so injury prone about Cam Newton, a system like New England, if you keep it just the same way, it could be beneficial to keeping him healthy and prolonging his career, because Tom Brady's still playing at the age of 41. Yeah. And it's just crazy, but you see the way he plays. Yeah. You know, this is probably the first year he was getting sacked at least almost 2-3 times a game, and now.
Other than that, and other than him risking himself in the playoff and in the Super Bowl with Philly,
exactly,
he wasn't really getting sacked like that. Exactly. Well, other than this past season.
Yeah, other than this past season. So I think a system like that could be very beneficial, but we just gonna have to wait and see. And the same thing for Clowney. I just believe, you know, Clowney, he's been bouncing back and forth, you know, from the Texans to Seattle. Like, what team is really gonna be a best fit for Clowney? I mean, to me, teams can't see too much of a linebacker into him. Yeah. Because I believe he's more of a pass rusher than a linebacker. You know, his coverage skills has been kind of in, you know, question. But, you know, you just got to see what scheme you best fit in. To have a player like Clowney, you know, that's another guy that kind of has to, you know, he was a little bit hurt, but not too much. But you just got to get him physically riled up. I never would have thought that Seattle would, you know, let him go. Yeah. But, I mean, that's just the business side. And, you know, hopefully he goes to a team that would be beneficial. I mean, not trying to throw any ideas out there, but like the Redskins, they just picked up Chase Young, and a young guy, Chase Young, as a pass rusher. Why not? They also still got Ryan Kerrigan. Like, why not just kind of just solidify your defense by picking up a guy like Clowney. I believe you still have the cap space.
Yeah,
don't go for another quarterback.
I hope not.
Yeah, I mean, Dwayne Haskins, just give us some time to develop. That was his first year at a horrible organization, and teams got to realize that. Like, you can't just throw a quarterback in the fire.
Yeah.
So why not, as I was saying, why not
build on one side and then fix the other later?
Exactly.
Since it is a rebuilding phase, I feel that.
Exactly. So I believe that's the best, But as we mentioned, players that are signed already, like Winston, Foles, and then Flacco that's taking on different roles. Those are the guys that really, Foles won a Super Bowl. Flacco won a Super Bowl with Baltimore.
Yep.
And then Winston, I mean, even though he was throwing to everybody and their mama like 30 picks, but like the guy led in yards, and it wasn't even by a close shot that he was leading in yards last year for the NFL. So do you think those roles are going to be tough for those guys since Foles is now in Chicago as a backup and Winston is now playing behind Drew Brees?
Well, I think it might be easier for Winston because Brees is on his final years.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. So the times he does get to play, he can really, let teams know that, I'm going to be solid when needed. When the opportunity comes for Winston, I feel like, it's going to be best for him. Because I was kind of thinking about that with Teddy Bridgewater when he was with the Saints.
When he was with the Saints, he was backup.
Yeah, but when Brees was hurt, he really stepped up.
Yeah.
So now he's like, all right, I'm a real deal quarterback, in which he already was, but I think the injury got him, and then just the the business things, he just ended up as a backup, but he did his job, he did his role, and now he's with Panthers, right? Yeah. So now he can do his thing there. So same thing with Winston. When it's time for him to play, he just has to step up and let them know. Who we were talking about the Bears?
Nick Foles, Philadelphia quarterback, won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, Nick Foles he was already a backup, and then he kind of became the star. I would assume he's content. I don't know.
I think when he went to Jacksonville because that was one of the questions they had. He was also in St. Louis a couple of years, a while back.
Yeah.
He was amazing as a backup quarterback, but as a starting quarterback to play a whole 16 games, that was in question. And when he went to Jacksonville, you kind of seen you just seen it. It was just exposed right there. It was just tough for him to have a team like that and just a situation like that. So I think they kind of more used it as to put a fire under Mitchell Trubisky to kind of get going.
Yeah.
Actually, especially since they, declined his, his extension, or his 5th-year option, excuse me. So I think that was just that's why they did the move. And I think Chicago is kind of in desperate need of a quarterback. It's just not showing yet because they just have 2 quarterbacks that, aren't too bad, but I think that's going to be a problem they're going to have in the future. So
yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, but it's just going to be one of those things we're going to have to wait and see. And, it's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
But with that being said, this is the end of the episode. I would like to thank y'all for watching. I really appreciate it. It's been a long time coming for me to put out this episode. I also like to thank my boy King, for being my first ever guest. You definitely gonna see him more, and we definitely gonna have way bigger and better topics for y'all in the future. So with that being said, I hope y'all enjoy. If you like this video, go down below and subscribe, and also give me a thumbs up on that video. All right. With that being said, appreciate y'all, and I'll see y'all later.
Peace.